Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Books and Bytes.
Oh, yeah.
Today
You bet.
we're doing a deep dive into Alfred Bester's The Star Is My Destination.
Oh, wow. A classic. A science fiction
It
classic.
is a classic,
Yeah.
and it still packs a punch.
It really does. It's one of those books that throws you headfirst into the future.
It does.
A future where humanity has learned to teleport.
With their minds.
With their minds. But,
Right.
it's not a utopia.
No.
We find ourselves grappling with war and revenge and the dark side of human potential.
Yeah, and we've got this rough around the edges protagonist.
Foyle.
Yes, Gully Foyle.
Just left for dead in space.
Yeah, and fueled by this burning desire for revenge. It's a wild ride through a world transformed by jaunting. And there are so many twists and turns that keep you guessing until the very end.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, beyond the thrilling plot,
Yeah.
Bester tackles some weighty themes.
Yeah.
We see the societal impact of this incredible technology, right?
Right.
The ethical dilemmas it raises.
Yes.
And ultimately, the question of what it means to be human in a world where the impossible becomes possible.
That is the question, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so let's get into it. The book opens with the discovery of jaunting,
Yes.
which completely changes the game for humanity. Can you paint a picture of how this technology reshapes society?
Well, imagine a world where physical distance becomes almost irrelevant.
Okay.
Yeah? People can teleport themselves.
Across rooms.
Across rooms, across cities, across continents even. It's a revolution in transportation and communication, even in warfare.
It sounds like a dream come true.
It does, doesn't it?
But I have a feeling it's not all sunshine and roses.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
While jaunting did open up incredible possibilities, it also created new anxieties and dangers.
Oh, I bet.
Bester doesn't shy away from the darker side of this technology.
Uh-huh.
We see the rise of these jack jaunters.
jaunters.
Yeah, criminals who can bypass any physical security.
Well,
And the fear they instill in the population.
it makes you think about the unintended consequences of any powerful technology.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're grappling with similar issues today with artificial intelligence and genetic engineering.
Precisely. Bester was ahead of his time
Goodbye.
in exploring these ethical and societal dilemmas. Jaunting becomes a metaphor for any transformative technology that has the potential to both liberate and enslave us.
And into this volatile world steps Gully Foyle, our protagonist.
Yes.
He's not your typical hero, is he?
Not at all. I mean, he starts as a rather unlikable character, actually driven by base instincts and a thirst for vengeance.
Yeah.
He's abandoned in space, left for dead after an attack on his ship.
Right.
And that experience breaks him,
It does.
but it also ignites a fire within him.
I remember that chilling scene
Oh, yeah.
where he's trapped in the wreckage of his ship, the Nomad,
Oh, yeah.
reciting that nursery rhyme. Gully Foyle is my name, and Terra is my nation. Deep space is my dwelling place. The star is my destination. Sends shivers down your spine.
Chilling.
That rhyme becomes a sort of mantra for Foyle, a reminder of his identity and his purpose. It speaks to his resilience, his refusal to give up even in the face of unimaginable hardship.
Absolutely. It foreshadows his transformation from a desperate survivor into a force to be reckoned with. He develops his jaunting abilities,
Right.
becomes a master of teleportation,
Uh-huh.
and uses them to track down those who wronged him.
So that quest for revenge takes him on a wild journey
It does.
across the solar system.
Across the solar system.
He encounters a cast of fascinating characters,
Oh, yeah.
from the eccentric 4 Mile of Ceres to the ruthless Saul Dagenham. It's like a space opera mixed with a hard-boiled detective story.
Bester blends genres seamlessly,
Yes, he does.
creating a world that's both familiar and utterly strange. We see the opulence of the elite, the desperation of the underclass, and the moral ambiguity of those in power.
You know, one of the things that struck me about the book was how Bester portrays the psychological impact of jaunting. It's not just a physical ability. It changes the way people think and perceive the world.
Absolutely. He explores the concept of spatial anxiety, this sense of unease and disorientation that people experience when they can suddenly be anywhere and everywhere at once.
Wow.
It's a brilliant insight into the potential psychological effects of such a radical technology.
And it makes you wonder, if we ever did develop the ability to teleport, what would it do to our sense of self, our relationship to the physical world?
Fascinating question.
It is a fascinating question.
One that Bester doesn't shy away from. He shows us how jaunting changes everything, from architecture and urban design to social interactions and even the very nature of warfare.
Speaking of warfare, the book is set against the backdrop of a brutal conflict
Oh, yes.
between the inner planets and the outer satellites.
Right.
How does this war shape the story and the characters?
Well, the war is a constant presence, a source of tension and violence that permeates every aspect of life. It drives the actions of the characters,
Yeah.
fuels their ambitions, and forces them to make very difficult choices.
So it raises questions about the nature of power,
Mm-hmm.
the justification for violence, and the consequences of unchecked ambition.
Precisely. The war is more than just a backdrop. It's a catalyst for the events of the story, and a mirror reflecting humanity's capacity for both good and evil.
So we have this world transformed by jaunting, a society grappling with the implications of this technology,
Yes.
and a war that threatens to tear everything apart.
Yes.
And in the midst of it all, we have Gully Foyle, driven by revenge, but also evolving into something more complex. His journey is brutal, but also incredibly compelling.
It challenges our perceptions of good and evil, forces us to confront the darkness within ourselves and the potential for transformation that lies even in the most damaged individuals.
And that brings us to one of the most fascinating and controversial aspects of the book, Foyle's transformation into the Burning Man.
Oh, the Burning Man. It's one of the most iconic images in science fiction, a symbol of Foyle's rage, his power, and his ultimate quest for self-discovery.
Can you unpack that imagery for us? What does it tell us about Foyle's internal struggle and the broader themes of the book?
Well, the Burning Man is a representation of Foyle's transformation, both literal and metaphorical. He's been scarred, both physically and emotionally, by the trauma he's endured. The fire imagery reflects his inner turmoil, the rage that consumes him, but it also symbolizes his potential for rebirth, for rising from the ashes of his past.
It's a powerful image,
It is.
and it ties into the book's exploration of human potential, both for creation and destruction.
Absolutely.
Foyle becomes a force of chaos, disrupting the established order.
All right.
But he also challenges us to confront our own capacity for both good and evil.
Exactly. He forces us to ask ourselves, what are the limits of human endurance? What happens when an individual breaks free from the constraints of society and embraces his raw primal power?
That leads us to another key element of the story, pyre, this mysterious substance that everyone seems to be after. What can you tell us about this enigmatic element and its significance?
Pyre is a game changer, a substance that holds the potential to reshape the world. It's described as having almost limitless energy capable of powering starships, creating weapons of unimaginable power, and even manipulating the very fabric of reality.
It sounds like the ultimate MacGuffin.
It does, doesn't it?
The object that everyone desires, but that also carries the potential for catastrophic consequences.
Exactly. Pyre represents both opportunity and danger, the promise of progress and the threat of annihilation.
And Foyle, through his journey, becomes entangled in the struggle for control of this substance.
He does. He's pursued by corporations, governments, and individuals who see him as the key to unlocking the secrets of Pyre. He becomes a pawn in their games.
Yeah.
But he's also learning to play the game himself, using his wits and his newfound powers to manipulate those who seek to control him.
So we have Foyle, this complex and evolving character, thrust into a world transformed by jaunting, caught in the crossfire of a brutal war, and now entangled in the pursuit of this mysterious substance that could change everything. It's a recipe for a truly gripping story.
Oh, and we've only just scratched the surface. As Foyle delves deeper into the mysteries surrounding his abandonment and the true nature of Pyre, he encounters new allies and enemies facing betrayals and challenges that push him to the very limits of his physical and mental endurance. His journey is far from over, so as Foyle's quest for revenge kind of intensifies, he finds himself drawn into this complex web of relationships.
Okay.
And each one is really shaping his journey and challenging his perceptions of the world. One of the most intriguing, I think, is his connection with Robin Wenisbury, the telepathic telescope.
Oh yeah, their initial encounter is so fascinating.
Yeah.
Foyle, still seeking answers about the Vorga, pretends to have amnesia and enrolls in Robin's jaunting class for patients with brain injuries. It's such a brilliant setup for a clash of personalities and abilities.
Oh, it is. Robin, with her ability to broadcast her thoughts, is immediately drawn to Foyle's concealed intensity.
Yeah.
She senses that there's more to him than meets the eye,
Right.
even as he tries to manipulate her for information.
Right, and their dynamic is this delicate dance
It is.
between suspicion and this strange kind of understanding. They both possess these unique abilities that set them apart from others, creating a bond built on shared isolation and a desire for connection.
And Dester uses their relationship to explore the complexities of communication.
Oh, interesting.
So you've got Robin, despite her telepathic abilities, she struggles to express her true feelings,
Uh-huh.
while Foyle, hardened by his experiences, finds it difficult to trust or connect with anyone.
Their connection deepens as Foyle reveals the truth about his quest. And the link he believes exists between Robin's missing family and the Vorga. It's a turning point for both characters,
It is.
forcing them to confront their pasts and the forces that have shaped them.
The search for Robin's family becomes intertwined with Foyle's pursuit of revenge,
Yeah.
adding a layer of emotional depth and complexity to his motivations. He's no longer just driven by personal vengeance, he's fighting for something larger than himself.
And their journey takes them to some truly unforgettable locations.
It does.
The 4 Mile Circus. This extravagant spectacle of wealth and excess.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a stark contrast to the grim reality of the war and the societal inequalities that Bester highlights throughout the book.
The circus becomes a microcosm of the world Bester creates. We see the indulgence of the elite, the exploitation of the performers, and the fleeting nature of entertainment in a society teetering on the brink of collapse.
Right in the midst of this chaos, Foyle's transformation into the Burning Man really begins to take shape.
It does.
He becomes a symbol of rebellion, challenging the established order and disrupting the carefully constructed facades of those in power.
That Burning Man imagery is so potent.
Yeah.
It reflects Foyle's growing mastery of his abilities, but also the danger he represents. He's becoming a force that can't be controlled, a wild card in a game with increasingly high stakes.
And then there's Olivia Prestane, this enigmatic ice princess who enters Foyle's life and throws another wrench into his plans. What do you make of their relationship, this collision of two worlds and two very different personalities?
Well, their relationship is one of the most fascinating and complex aspects of the book, I think.
Yeah.
Olivia, representing the privileged elite, is initially drawn to Foyle's raw power and intensity, something she's never encountered in her sheltered world.
Right, she's both fascinated and repelled by him, isn't she?
Yeah.
He represents a threat to everything she knows,
Yeah.
but also a chance to break free from the gilded cage she's been living in.
Exactly. And Foyle, initially seeing her as a pawn in his game,
Right.
gradually develops genuine feelings for her. He sees a vulnerability beneath her icy exterior, a longing for something more than the empty rituals of her social class.
So their connection is intense, but also deeply flawed.
It is.
They both carry a lot of baggage.
A lot of baggage.
A history of pain and betrayal that makes it difficult for them to truly trust each other.
And that leads to a series of betrayals and misunderstandings that ultimately push them apart.
It does.
Olivia, fearing Foyle's recklessness, betrays him to her father, hoping to protect him from himself.
Oh, wow.
But in doing so, she only deepens the divide between them.
Their final confrontation aboard the Vorga is such a heart-wrenching scene.
Oh, it is.
Foyle, having achieved his revenge, realizes it hasn't brought him peace or closure.
No.
And Olivia, in a moment of brutal honesty, reveals her own darkness.
Yeah.
Her desire to inflict pain on a world that she feels has wronged her.
It's a powerful and tragic moment.
It is.
They both recognize the damage they've inflicted on each other, but it's too late to repair the relationship. They're both broken in their own ways, shaped by the violence and betrayal that permeates their world.
So the relationship adds another layer to the book's exploration of human nature,
It does.
showing how love and hate, compassion and cruelty can coexist within the same heart.
It's a reminder that even in a future where we can teleport with our minds, conquer space, and manipulate matter with pyre, we still struggle with the most basic human emotions. Love, loss, betrayal, and the search for connection, these are timeless themes that resonate deeply with readers.
Yeah.
And as we reach the final act of The Star's My Destination, we see Foyle grappling with the consequences of his actions
Yeah.
and the weight of the power he now wields. He's achieved his revenge, but it's left him empty,
Right.
questioning the very nature of his quest.
He's gone through this incredible transformation, from a vengeful outcast to the Burning Man, capable of feats that defy imagination.
He has.
Yet there's a sense that he's still searching for something more, a purpose beyond the cycle of violence and retribution.
It's a crucial turning point in the novel. Foyle begins to understand that his journey has been manipulated by forces beyond his comprehension. He's been a pawn in a larger game, used by those seeking to control pyre and reshape the world to fit their own agendas.
It's a classic theme in Bester's work. The individual versus the system. The struggle against those who seek to control and exploit others for their own gain. But in this case, it's not just about corporate greed or political ambition. There's a deeper philosophical question at play.
You're right. Bester explores the nature of power itself,
Uh-huh.
its corrupting influence, and the responsibility that comes with wielding it.
Right.
Foyle, having experienced the destructive potential of power firsthand, is reluctant to hand it over to anyone,
Yeah.
knowing it could lead to unimaginable devastation.
There's that scene that stands out to me. Foyle's confrontation with Prestane Dagenham and Yang Yelval, the leaders of the inner planets.
Oh, yeah.
He stands before them a figure of defiance, challenging their authority and exposing the hypocrisy of their actions.
That scene is a powerful indictment of those in power. Their willingness to sacrifice individuals and entire planets for the sake of maintaining control. It's Foyle's moment of truth, where he transcends his personal quest for revenge and becomes a voice for the voiceless, for those who have suffered as a result of the war and the unchecked ambition of the elite.
And his words echo through the book,
They do.
challenging the reader to consider their own complicity in systems of oppression and the choices they make in the face of injustice.
Exactly. Bester doesn't offer easy answers. He forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves and the world we inhabit. His writing is a call to action, urging us to question authority, challenge the status quo, and fight for a more just and equitable future.
But it's not all doom and gloom, is it?
No.
There's a glimmer of hope in the ending. A sense that even in the midst of chaos and destruction, there's a possibility for redemption, for transcendence.
Yeah, Foyle, having rejected the path of vengeance and embraced a higher purpose, disappears into the vastness of space.
He does.
His ultimate fate left ambiguous. It's a powerful image suggesting that his journey is far from over, that he's still evolving, still searching for meaning and connection in a universe that's both terrifying and awe-inspiring.
It's an ending that invites interpretation, prompting us to consider the possibilities that lie beyond the confines of the story.
Yeah.
What do you think Bester is trying to say with this open-ended conclusion?
Well, I think he's leaving it to the reader to decide.
Yeah.
Is Foyle's disappearance a defeat? A retreat from a world he can no longer bear? Or is it a triumph? A transcendence of the limitations that have bound him? It's a question that lingers long after you've finished the book,
It really does.
prompting you to reflect on your own journey, your own search for meaning and purpose in a world that's constantly changing.
And that's what makes The Stars My Destination such an enduring classic. It's a book that's as relevant today as it was when it was first published, challenging us to confront the big questions about technology, society, and the very nature of what it means to be human. It's a wild ride full of twists and turns, but it's also a deeply thought-provoking exploration of the human condition.
It's a book that stays with you, prompting you to reconsider your assumptions, challenge your beliefs, and perhaps even see the world in a new light. And who knows, it might even inspire you to jauntate off to the stars yourself in search of your own destination.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into The Stars My Destination, be sure to check out the show notes for links to further reading and resources. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the book and our discussion. Share your comments on social media and keep the conversation going. Until next time, happy reading.